$100, sometimes just a table depending on the year. Last year we purchased a $5,000 sponsorship. I bring it to the board because we couldn't decide internally where to set the mark. The $2,500 sponsorship does come with a table of 8, I believe. And let me just double check, that's 4.
This is 4, I believe, yeah.
Okay, so the question is, number of people that plan to attend, number 1, because in the past we've had tables of 8 and have had difficulty filling it. If the board intends to attend, or are we only in 4 seats, that should be part of your decision over to the board.
I'm not going to attend. I can't sit there that long and come back.
It's my intent to attend. I don't think I'll be there on that date. So.
I'm quite certain that Karina and I will be there, at least I will be. Okay. Probably 2. My recommendation is $2,500 buy-in.
Okay.
I'll move that motion.
Second.
Any questions? All right, motion to approve $2,500 for the Antelope Valley Business Outlook Conference.
Provided a raise to the Chief Operations Officer on July 1st, 2012 as a part of ratification of the district's annual budget. Our current PERS audit, which occurs occasionally, not at regular intervals, and we're currently going through it, has flagged that they need ratification from this board that the current salary of the CFO is $77,180.64, inclusive of a raise on 7/1/2012, a 5% raise, a raise on 7/1/2012, when his current salary was $68,827. That also included a raise at the completion of his degree and a COLA, bringing his current salary to $77,180.64. We determined internally that it doesn't require a resolution, it just needs minutes and a vote of the board to affirm that in the minutes.
The agenda says 74 cents.
I'll chip in.
Okay, then this sheet says 64 and this sheet says 74. I need clarification.
Okay.
What's the gentleman's name?
Mike Turnipseed.
Mike Turnipseed. Mike does a very good job of representing the interests of the current taxpayers in front of the Board of Supervisors and flagging current issues in the county, some of which from time to time impact this district. For $500 a year, I find it to be very worthwhile, but again, I know in the past there's been some debate on that before the board, so I bring it before the board as my recommendation for approval.
Okay.
Do the 74?
Okay, so I ask for the ratification of the current salary with the former disclaimer.
Any questions on the ratification of the salary?
Motion?
Yeah, motion. And we have a motion and a second for ratifying the salary at $77,180.74. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right. Motion carries.
Okay, item D, again, I ask your approval. That's over to the board for current tax association.
Motion approved.
Second. Any questions about the current tax association membership? All in favor of approval of the membership?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Troy, of the Public Utilities District. And what B wants from this is each time we have a new applicant come before the board to set up a new business that would require water service, he wants us to notify public utilities or have the applicant put it in our PD process or a precise development plan process if it requires construction or water service, that they engage the water district and receive permission, because then the district issues a will serve letter, which fundamentally obligates the district to provide water to that tenant. And that's in an agreement that I believe was inked in 1991 between the district and the Public Utilities District. And it turns out, B's right, we haven't been doing that, at least on my watch. We weren't real sure what this letter meant until we tried to figure it out, but now we know. Anyway, that's it. This is official correspondence. Any questions for us?
So what's the action taken?
That's just it.
You guys now,
We now
no,
know.
not by the board, but what's
No
that?
action from the board. The staff will require that anybody comes before us to lease land, build a building that requires water service, must obtain a will serve letter from the Mojave Public Utilities District. Okay.
Makes sense.
And the letter is included in there because it was addressed to the board. Again, we have new members on the board this year. In the past, it's been a very well-attended dinner. It's a chance to meet all the county officials, all the county officials, all county department heads and staff typically attend, all current and former supervisors. And what I don't want to happen is for us to approve the table, and I'm the only one sitting at the table, or occasionally me and Dave Russell. In the past, we've had people from the East Kern County buy a table, and the table sits in the middle of the room empty. That's not good. And I think it's a worthwhile dinner. It's an evening event. I don't advocate too many of those in my career anymore, but this is one that's worthwhile. And I'd like to buy a table. It's $600, a table of 10. I'd like to see if the board is interested in attending.
I will go if you drive.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'll
Well,
go, I'll go and I'll drive.
We'll
Okay, I
find
don't like
somebody
driving.
from here to drive.
I'll
We'll
drive.
do that.
Yeah, that's good. No, I'll do it.
Okay, and if you can't for some reason, if you can give me more than 24 hours, I'll fill that table. But it's a good thing for people to see our county government and for us to have a public face at there.
Right.
Move to approve.
Do we need approval on this, or you just wanted to query to see if people were interested?
I'm happy to approve it on my own.
Okay.
Okay. I plan on
Dr. Peterson, I'm happy to
Okay.
do that.
Thank you.
Okay, item G, Flight Test Aerospace has been in discussions with us on building 3. The building is a bit derelict and in need of some tender loving care. He has made us a proposal in the packet to lease the building for a period of time, and then after the end of 1 year, he leases it at market rate for 2 years on a month-to-month, which essentially makes it a lease. His terminology is slightly contrary to our administrative code. This has my approval, or my recommended approval. I've gone over it, I've walked the building with Kevin. He asked me last week if he could have access to it to at least clean the yard, and I noticed today his team was over there and it's immaculate. They've already been on the property in preparation. They want to lease the building. They'd like to lease it at these terms. And the only thing I offered in addition to this is that if he does this work, fixes up the inside of the building, we'll put it in the queue to paint it like we're painting other buildings. I believe the next one, Harold, in the queue is Randall's?
Yeah,
Harold here?
That's Randall County.
they had to step out, yeah.
Okay. And then we have one more on Roper Street, and then we'll move down the way, and the intent is to paint building 3. By that time, they should be complete with their inside structural repairs. There's one outside wall that needs to be installed, and that's on the west side. So that non-trivial repairs. That's my.
Does this change the ground lease by moving it 30 feet? Is that a make it a large lease?
It's a larger lease, and that's inclusive in his proposal.
All right, any questions? And still, I'm assuming you would like board approval for this, or you just notify us?
It requires board approval.
Okay.
Because the lease is 2 years. He calls it a month-to-month, but a 2-year lease is.
So do we need, but my understanding would be is we would actually approve the actual lease, not just the proposal. We
The
give you-
proposal and the lease, and then I'll draw up the lease from there and we'll bring it back to you, but I'd like this approved.
Okay. Giving no further questions, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
All right, motion is approved.
His graph, he's come up with a new graph that I think is gonna show a little better,
Yeah, we looked
our
at that.
spikes in our revenue and stuff. I think it's easier for me to understand. So, and I think you plan on presenting that. And then we have a couple items we're gonna bring back, first meeting in January?
Second.
Second meeting in January. One is the CalPERS regarding wages, and maxes, and policy on the, how to handle our.
Collections.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
On his flight, this is the which anniversary? I can't remember, but, this is always an interesting thing, I've heard it several times, but it's always interesting to hear. It'll be here in the boardroom, and from the phone calls when you're getting in the chamber, you better come early or make a reservation.
I have a question on that. Occupancy in this room is 49. Allison, thank you, running it in the paper yesterday on page 2, but that will likely fill this room many times.
Yeah.
Have you considered a different location?
We've been talking about that room over in Building 1. You know, we use it for the Edwards Community Alliance. It's a little bigger, isn't it? I don't know what the occupancy is. Or we could, the problem is getting people to it. And we've been kicking that around on the board a little bit. Depends on the program. I agree that, you know, it can, we had it in the Voyager one, the last time we had this particular speech was in the Voyager one time. We literally had people hanging from the ceiling.
I think you enter the land of unintended consequences once in a while. If you advertise it, you get 500 people show up, and we have room for 49.
Yeah.
You know who's gonna get blamed for that?
Well, you guys aren't gonna get, I mean, it's just one of those things. And Allison writes a very good story that usually appears on page 3 every month, just about, and usually right before it, so. The WIT Center would be a place, but that's kind of too big sometimes.
I think it's great. I've heard Dick's story so many times and I don't miss it. I'll listen to it again. It's a fantastic story.
Yeah.
It just, get here early.
Okay, I'd like to know that. Any other comments? Okay, Stu, CEO, General Manager comments?
One approved expenditure was California Special District Association, $5,700 I approved. Again, an organization that we receive significant benefit. Anytime we need specialized consulting, a phone call away, and well, there's no charge. It's part of the membership. Secondly, I want to thank the Finance Committee for your work. I know today we talked about a couple items more a longer view to the future. And I appreciate the work, long overdue, and I really appreciate David's attendance on that also. It's good to have a few voices in the room to be critical of how we've done things in the past and how we're going to approach things in the future. Good.